Hey guys, what's going on? I'm back here with another how-to video. What I got here today is a push to start button. It's a $14 push to start system. So this is pretty cheap, but does it work? Well, let me show you as I go with this installation. Now this is a very simple install. It's not really complicated. It might be different from other cars, like let's say if your car has a chip on the key, then you might need extra things for it. Well, probably just one extra thing is a bypass for that. But for this car, 2004 Dodge Stratus, it's very simple, no chip, very simple install. Now you do have with this system, push to start system, you do have 6 wires that are the primary wires. So in this diagram you can see which ones is which. Red is power 12 volts, black line is ground, brown is on position 2, blue is accessory, yellow is engine start, white is power on 1. Now let's say you do not have a diagram for your car. If you do, it'll make your life a lot easier. If you don't worry, it's still very simple to figure it out. Now you are going to need a 12 volt tester. Once you got that, you're going to want to pop your key in the ignition and test every single one of those wires as you switch the key. So let's say you switch the key on first on the first click, test the wires and see which one has the power for that. So to verify that that is that wire, switch it back off and see if it has power again. If it doesn't, that's your power on 1. If you switch it on the second wire and it has power on the second one on another wire, that'll be your second power on position, but switch it back off and see if it still has power to make sure that it is the power. But so on and so forth, that's how you're going to be able to figure out what that is. Now the red wire, which is the 12 volt, that one always has power. That one should always have power even though the key is not on or the ignition is not turned on. So that's the main line that's going to provide power to everything. So once you get that figured out, you do have your green wire that goes to the brake line. So the brake line is pretty much connected right above the brake itself. You will see this little box, depending on your car, it might be different. But for this car, 2004 Dodge Stratus, it's this white and tan wire. That's the one that provides the 12 volt current to the tail lights as well to the box, to the system, push to start system. So if your car starts without this cable being connected, that means your yellow wire is in the wrong place. So the first one is accessories, second one is the chimes and all the lights. The third one is when you need to step on the brake and it'll turn on. If you do not step on the brake, it's not going to turn on. But once you got all that situated and it's already, and you got no lights, nothing on there, you're pretty much good to go to the next step. Now the next step is removing the key barrel. Now this is not really necessary, but I prefer it. Maybe you might, maybe you won't, I don't know. So the reason why we need to do this is because if it's on the off position, you notice how the shifter gets locked as well as the steering wheel, right? So in order to remove the barrel, it's not that hard. If you have this plastic around the barrel as well, it's pretty simple to remove. Just take off those tabs, spread them out and it'll come off. But you gotta push it on the second position, second click, 1, 2, and then if you look on the bottom, and this might be different from different cars, but if you look on the bottom, you see that little button, it looks like a button right there, right? So that's what you need to push in. So you push it in and then you just pull out the barrel and it'll come right off. Alright, so pretty much everything stays the same. Your shifter is no longer locked, but this is kind of dangerous. So if you do this, you make sure you always engage your parking brake when you leave your car, because if it has a push start button and you're doing this and the gear shift is no longer locked, it no longer has a safety of you not being able to remove the key unless the shifter is properly locked. Then it could cause problems or even accidents. But anyways, if you do not want to remove your barrel, you just pull out this little tab here, which is the wire that locks the shifter. You could just put a tape on the yellow part, just press it in, but I prefer just to keep it as is and just remove the barrel. So the next thing is the antenna. The antenna itself, you could decide to put it anywhere. The antenna is only for the RFI reader chip to be read. So before you put anything or drill holes, you gotta make sure that it's reading it works. Once you know it works, me myself, I'm gonna put my push start button right there. So I just wanted to test it out first before I make any holes. So once you know that it works, then you want to go ahead and make your hole. And the way you're gonna know if it's alright, how to install the push start button, is by flipping this little flaps inwards. And you don't want to drill the hole any bigger than this thing's fitting in there. So once you know that it's nice, it fits, and it's not gonna be moving around, those little flaps, what you're going to want to do is just spread them out, pretty much like a spider spreading its legs. The little rubber thing just pretty much keeps everything flush. If you want the button flush, then you could do that as well, but that's extra work, so that really will depend on you on if you want to do that, take the extra mile. As far as the reader, the antenna as well, you could also place it someplace else where you could just toss your keys and it'll detect it, instead of you having to flash the transponder through the antenna. But as you can see here, we got the accessory. First, it blinks once low. You press it a second time, it starts blinking twice. You press on the brake, you hold the button, and it'll start the engine. So once everything is good to go, you're pretty much set, ready to put everything back together. Real simple stuff, not hard at all. But anyways guys, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more how-to and tech videos.